I've got an old, very dry piece of cedar deck board that I made a lot of lures out of up to this point. We'll make this one 4.5 inches. Getting ready to draw the taper angles. Again, I'm going to leave the front rather thick because I want to do some carving, just like in the last bait I made. I'm drawing some gills directly on the bait here, but I should make a pattern so I can get it the same on both sides, but I just do it freehand on both sides, and half the time it comes out right. I've taken to using a Dremel to do a lot of my carving now. This one is a rough cut. It takes off a lot of wood just to get started. This is a sharp bladed bit, almost like a router bit, and it takes wood off, and I can shape things pretty good and get in tight places. And last but not least, this is an abrasive bit that takes some wood off, not much, but also does some polishing and smoothing out. Holes for the hook hangers and the line tie. And of course, I have to drill some holes to add some weight. This wood is quite floaty. I love this Sled Pod. It's always worked so well. I just buy some buckshot off Amazon and by the bag and throw it in there and melt it. It's a little dirty, but I skim the dirt off on the top once in a while. I've been guesstimating the amount of ballast I need to put in each weight, and sometimes I have to add or subtract, but most of the time I hit it pretty good. I guess I'll super glue the line ties in. I usually use epoxy, but super glue does hold pretty good. The holes that I made are really quite tight, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. After covering the lead holes, I'm going to use super glue to seal it. Got to wear gloves, otherwise you might glue yourself to your bait and then the fish would chase you. And with the hardware on, it is just about right. When I put the UV resin on, it'll add a little ballast and it'll sink just a little lower. Now this is holographic foil from a craft store. It's got a peel off paper so it's sticky a little bit, and with a heat gun it'll shrink and kind of form to what it's on. I'm hoping it stays. It's got an unusual pattern on it. I'm used to foil. We'll see. Just wanted to try it. I've been thinking about doing this for quite a while. I'm going to put a thin coat of UV resin on here just to make sure everything stays in place. It'll do about 30 minutes in the UV chamber just to harden it enough so I can keep working on it. Some white over the edges of the foil. Some gold brushed laterally from the front over the gills. Oh boy, I forgot to put the netting on. Fluorescent paints really go nicely over foils or silver paint. And now a layer of just opaque blue paint. It's quite a bit darker. And finally some black along the back, and to highlight and accent the eyes and the face too. And the black stripe around the back of the gills, I didn't use a pattern because I wanted to look a little more organic. A little white accent behind the black line of the gills to give it a little more contrast. And a little bit of red just because I like to mess things up and can't help myself sometimes. This is a brush spattering effect we use in watercolor painting sometime. I've got a little bit of sepia on here, and I'm making some spatter along the gill plates. And once again, I'm going to make my eyes right on the lure. One of these days, I'm going to screw up royally. I just know it. I've got a little transparent green here to colorize the eyes a little bit. It's thinned out, so it's just a tint. A drop of UV resin, and then about 60 seconds under the UV light. And finally, a coat of UV resin, and then in the curing chamber.